Well, it's a beautiful day here in Calgary, Alberta for the 8th annual Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo. And I'm here with all kinds of people. Look at these guys. And you know what? We're going to have a great time bringing you all the coverage from the Expo this weekend right here on Between the Pages. All right, so it's another fine day in Calgary, and this is episode number 50 of Between the Pages. You know me, I'm Richard Cleveland. I'm here every week. You know, I kind of get things going, and then I leave it to my co-host, who is that guy, the myth, the legend, the man about town, the guy who thinks that cosplay should be an everyday occurrence, Mr. Jason Bishop.
Thanks very much, Richard. We're here at the Calgary Expo covering all the things going on, talk to celebrities, talking to artists, writers, you name it, your favorite people.
Yeah.
This has been an incredible trip, and I'm having a blast.
Well, I'm glad I'm having a blast, man. Hey, we've got all these shows, or all these people to see and a bunch of shows to do, and we've decided we're going to occupy the space stage.
Yeah, that's it. We've had it with these space people. We're occupying the space stage. This is it. This is now our territory. Hands-off space.
Well, you know, AJ and Teddy are going to come back and kick us out. They're pretty big guys.
No, they're really not. They're pretty thin. You'll see. I can take them. I don't know. Maybe. Well, they might have some like martial arts training over at the Space Guys. I don't know. Fancy new logo. It's great to be on their set, and stay tuned and watch what's coming next. Okay, I'm here with legendary Wendy and Richard Pini of ElfQuest fame. Man, you guys have been doing ElfQuest for quite a while. When did ElfQuest all start for you?
Well, actually, Wendy has had that story cooking in her head for many, many years, but we began publishing it in 1978, so this is our 35th anniversary this year.
Wow, congratulations on that. And to celebrate the 35th anniversary, you guys have a brand new deal with Dark Horse. Yes. Does this include reprinting of the old material?
Yeah, it really does. It includes the new material we're doing now, and we've talked about reprinting the archives and continuing the archives, and
They have a very, very comprehensive plan that we're just in love with. They're going to put us online digital for apps and iPhones and smartphones and so on. They're going to do hardcovers and comics. It's just all over the place, and we're thrilled.
That's fantastic. A whole new generation gets to discover ElfQuest all over again. So this is going to cover all of the original material. Are they going to continue on with what DC was publishing, or they're going to start fresh with new reprints? Yeah,
the idea is, especially when it comes to the archives of the older material, DC did 4 beautiful archives for us, and the idea is to continue on from there, but with a redesign.
Okay, so these ones won't match the previous published material.
Every publisher wants to have their own calling card.
Absolutely, and I don't blame them. The big announcement, Final Quest.
Yes.
My gosh, let's talk about that.
Well, the Final Quest is actually the continuation of the main storyline that we began back in the late 70s. And we've been planting clues and hints to this last big story arc for a long, long time.
Now, how long is this? Is this story arc planned as multiple part stories?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's going to take me about 4 years to finish it, and it's going to be the equivalent of the classic Quest.
Okay, great, because it's not going to be like one mini series and it's gone again.
No, we anticipate 3, possibly 4 nice 150 to 200 page volumes that it will take to tell this entire story over those 4 years.
I mean, if you consider the fact that we have 700 characters, which we do, those are a lot of subplots to wrap up.
That is an incredible universe you guys have created over the years. And yes, I imagine it's going to take a long time to wrap up all those individual stories.
And yet we know where everything needs to go and who needs to do what and what's going to happen, and there are going to be surprises. There are things going to happen people are not expecting.
Oh yes, we're going to take certain characters that people have taken for granted all these years as behaving one way, and they are just going to do a 180, and people are going to be so shocked.
Well, I for one can't wait. What's the status on the movie? Is that stalled out?
Good old ElfQuest movie.
Everybody wants that.
We were with Warner Brothers. They had the option between 2008 and 2012, and for a little while it looked like they were really serious, but then as 2012 came up, they sort of let us know that no, ElfQuest is too much like The Hobbit, and we're doing The Hobbit, so we can't do ElfQuest. And when they said that, we went, WTF are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
They're two entirely different stories.
It means they never really looked at what they had, because ElfQuest is quite different from Tolkien.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And just you figured they'd be chomping at the bit for another fantasy project like that.
It's not as tried and true as Tolkien in Hollywood's point of view.
Yeah.
So we're working with some new agents now. It's very exciting to be working with them, and they're taking us in directions that are not classic Hollywood studio option direction. And more than that, I don't want to say, but we feel pretty good about the future possibilities for an ElfQuest movie.
Now, there's been some recent things happening on Kickstarter as far as film goes. Is that something you guys have thought about?
Well, the Stephanie Thorpe and Paula Rhodes, who did the very popular and award-winning ElfQuest: A Fan Imagining trailer, launched their funding for that on Indiegogo. And so that was our first introduction to these
the crowdsourcing, the whole crowdsourcing thing. And we know that Kickstarter has become the 800-pound gorilla of startup things. We don't know so much about Kickstarter right now for film. We do know that there are some publishing projects involving ElfQuest that could, over the next, I would say, 6 months to 12 months, show up on Kickstarter.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for talking with us about ElfQuest. I wish you guys the best of luck with your deal with Dark Horse, and I can't wait to see those. Before we go, actually, when can people expect to see some of this material?
Oh, very soon. Very soon.
Yeah, the prologue to the final quest, which we've teased people with online for about half of the number of pages, will premiere from Dark Horse in October of this year.
Oh, fantastic. So not too far away.
Not too far away at all.
Excellent. Good news for ElfQuest fans. Well, thank you for joining us.
Next guest has appeared in such great movies as Tarzan, Sleepy Hollow, and most notably Starship Troopers. With me today is Mr. Casper Van Dien. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
You know, I'm getting older and grayer, but I'm not getting any better looking. Then there's you.
I'm getting older and grayer too. I just got to shave.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your varied career. How was shooting a movie like Starship Troopers for you that had a lot of CG elements and a lot of action that was involved? What was that like for you?
It was an absolute blast to have an opportunity to be in a film that was a book that you read when you were a child. Is just an experience that's so hard to describe, but I'm going to try. It was unbelievable. It was magical. It was a gift from God. It was surreal. But every day I was so appreciative, and I had so much fun. And I had the military coordinator going around going, Rico, go make sure the troops have water. And so I didn't really get to be an actor, and I was always being in charge of all of my troopers, which was fantastic.
Now, in preparing for a movie like that, did you go through any sort of military training prior to doing the movie, or was there any special things like that?
We did have an 11-day boot camp with Captain Dale Dive with the U.S. Marine Corps. I also grew up in a military family, and I went to a military high school.
Very cool. Now, you've also done movies like Tarzan and of course, as we all know, Sleepy Hollow, where you kind of played, a bit of a heel.
I'm good at that.
Recently, I saw you in a movie called Noobs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Noobs, I got to play myself. Only after seeing it, I think I might need major therapy to actually be me that was in that film that I saw, where I was being me.
Yeah, you were kind of that, well, I'm not really want to be married to this woman, but, look at her kid.
Yeah. I was kind of that way.
So tell us, what's next for Casper Van Dien?
I just played Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat in the webisode series, directed by Kevin Tangeron, which was really awesome, and he's going to go into the film starting in June. They go into pre-production, and then I just shot a film with my wife called 11 Seconds, Catherine Oxenberg. She's...
Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to seeing it, and we hope that we can have you back on the show and talk about the film when it comes out and a little bit more about the web series.
Naked Ape and Tarzan, they go hand in hand.
You got that right. So, it is.
Naked Ape and Tarzan go hand in hand. Yeah, we might want to strike that one or do another take of something. Well, you can keep it in, but I'm just saying.
Well, it depends who's going to be the chimp.
Yeah, well, Tarzan doesn't swing that way.
All right, for Between the Pages, I'm Richard, and this guy here, he's Casper Van Dien.
Sometimes, when I'm not Johnny Rico, or Tarzan, or one of those other guys.
Or yourself.
Yes, or Richard Pasties.
I'm with Fernando Ruiz over at the Archie booths, and man, how long have you been doing Archie?
19 years.
That's incredible, and man, there's been a lot of changes in Archie in the last few years, and you've been instrumental in some of them. You want to talk about a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I pencil regularly the Life with Archie magazine, which shows Archie as an adult. In the half of the magazine that I pencil, he's married to Veronica, so we see what his life is like after he's finally chosen between Betty and Veronica, and it's been an adventure. A lot of big things have happened.
Now, you know, from a shop perspective, I actually have more adults picking up that particular version of the book of Archie. Anything else, they really like the kind of soap opera aspect to it. It seems to have taken a bit of a cue from the ongoing stories that the Marvel and DC guys publish.
Yeah, it's a little bit more sophisticated, but really anyone could read the book. There's nothing too adult about it, but it's still pretty sophisticated, and it's got all these great plot twists and revelations and things. So it really is a story on a whole other level than the usual Archie story.
Now, Archie's been doing a major push on, with Kiss and bringing a gay character into the stories and really trying some different things. What prompted this big push to try different things? Because, man, it really felt like the ship was moving in the same direction for a long time. What really prompted all of these type of moves?
Well, a lot of it had to do with our new CEO, John Goldwater. When he came in, he really wanted to shake things up and really push Archie into today and into tomorrow. So a lot of these recent changes have really been due to him.
Well, and it's certainly noticeable in what's been going on in Archie. Now, you've actually doing another book that's not Archie. I see on the table here, the Epics.
Oh.
You want to talk a little about the Epics? I'm actually not familiar with this one.
Well, this was a comic that I did with, I teach at the Joe Kubert School, which is where I attended and where Archie found me, actually. They hired me from there. But I got together with a number of our other teachers at the school, and we decided to put together our own comic book. So we each took 6 pages. We did 6-page stories, and we were able to put it together. So we're very lucky to make it happen.
It looks very cool. It looks like kind of a World War II inspired fighter piece.
Our theme in the first issue was the 1950s, so all the stories take place in the 50s.
So we want to thank all the fine folks down at the Camera Store here in Calgary. The Camera Store is located at 802 11th Ave Southwest, and you can find them on the web at thecamerastore.com or give them a call and just ask for Jordan or Peter at 403-234-9935. That's thecamerastore.com.
Stay tuned for Jason and Richard because you're watching Between the Pages. Woo!
So I'm hanging out with the Devil's Panties and Jenny. Jenny, tell us a little bit about what The Devil's Panties is all about.
The Devil's Panties is a journal comic. It's up on the internet and it updates every single day. And it's all about conventions and comic shops and pirates and Renaissance festivals, and couldn't make it up if I tried.
So what gave you the inspiration to do a book line like this?
Well, I went to Savannah College of Art and Design and I majored in comic books. And whenever something funny or weird would happen around the dorms, I'd do a comic about it. And in 2001, a housemate said, you should put this up on the internet. And I said, okay, how do you, I'm going to have to name it if I put it up on the internet. And so I asked around with my friends, hey, what should I name it? And a friend of mine said, well, I was going to name my band The Devil's Panties, but I don't play an instrument, so you're allowed, you can use it. So I was having the comic called The Devil's Panties for about 3 years, and these two girls ran up to me at a convention and said, The Devil's Panties, we love that movie. And I said, what? And they said, the Sandra Bullock movie. And I said, what? Apparently, in Miss Congeniality, the one girl said, well, I wanted to get the red panties, but my mom wouldn't let me. She said they were Satan's panties.
Gotcha. So The Devil's Panties, now it's in its 7th book, is that right? 7th? You're getting on to the 7th volume.
We're finishing up the 7th book. It's been going on since 2001. We have over 4,000 comic strips that are up online for free to read.
So where can people find you online?
It's thedevilspanties.com. That's thedevilspanties.com.
So if you're looking for some funny material that's about everyday life, head over to thedevilspanties.com. Check out Jenna's work, because let me tell you, I've been flipping through some of these books, and I recognize some of the stories in there. I'm pretty sure she's following me around.
Yes. Oh, he hasn't found the cameras yet.
Hi, I'm with Frank Messamaro of Aspen Comics today, and we're here to talk a little bit about Aspen and its foundations. Let's start right at the beginning with you and Michael Turner.
Sure. Aspen, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary because it was 10 years ago this year that myself, Michael Turner, Peter Steigerwald, that we started Aspen Comics. So we're really excited. It's been a crazy 10 years. Obviously, Mike passed away about 5 years ago. That was definitely a rough time for us, but throughout the 10 years, we've had a blast. We worked on some great projects with Marvel, DC, also putting out all of our own books, continuing Fathom, Soulfire, which premiered at Aspen 10 years ago. It's Soulfire's 10-year anniversary this year. So it's been a crazy ride. It's been a crazy ride to get to this point.
Wow, I can't even believe Soulfire was 10 years ago already. Yeah. It's crazy, and what a great fantasy book that was. You're also the writer on Shrugged. Why don't you give everybody the elevator pitch if they haven't read Shrugged yet? This is a good opportunity to tell them.
Sure. Shrugged was a concept that Michael created years ago now, 7, 8 years ago. I helped him flesh out the actual story and everything, and it's essentially those voices in your head, the angel devil on your shoulder. What if those voices inside your head were actually real? They come from another planet. We gave meaning to the gut feeling, to butterflies in your stomach. It's essentially all the human emotions that people go through. We gave those feelings actual, we made them actual beings. Then they come from another world, and they join up with humans when they're born, and they help guide them through life. So if the little devil guy is really obnoxious and everything, then that's someone who you probably wouldn't get along with too well because they're really loud and crass or something. Or if their angel is a little shy and reclusive, then that's someone who's really, tough to talk with and whatnot. So it was a lot of fun to really just play with all of those different feelings that humans go through, put it into the book, and yet we really grounded it because the main star, Theo, he's in high school, and we put in a lot of elements that me and Mike actually went through in high school and just a lot of different things, and it's a whole lot of fun. It's sort of a Pixar-ish type story with an updated Roger Rabbit feel because it starts in the real world and then goes to their world with all these crazy creatures and everything, and then those two worlds mix. So that's how I would see it. If it was a feature film, it would start real, then go animated, and then just combine it. So
I always felt it was like this fun, slightly sexy version of Monsters, Inc.
Yeah,
in a way. Bit. I mean, a little bit.
Yeah,
it's certainly its own thing, and it was one of my favorites. And I think it's something. One of the books that I think would be a really good all ages book from Aspen for younger readers as well, because of the young protagonist.
Exactly, that's the one thing. Because obviously Michael Turner was known for drawing beautiful women, no doubt. Mike, Witchblade, Fathom, went on to do Return Supergirl, all these things with these female, strong lead characters. With Shrugged, we wanted something that was a little more, all age friendly in terms of, okay, well, Aspen, sure, we're known for drawing beautiful women and having strong female protagonists, but also, hey, we have this world of Shrugged, we have, you know, a few other books that do hit all these other genres that people can come to and check out all the different worlds that we produce.
And one of those other ones you wrote that didn't have a female protagonist was Delic.
Yeah, Delic. That was a really fun book. Unfortunately, the end of the schedule got kind of messed up there, so we didn't end on a very high note, but we're looking to correct that. We are looking to have Delic come back next year. That was just my love letter to action adventure movies. Every single issue got worse and worse for the main character, Delic, with him fighting against the demons of the world and trying to basically save his daughter and the different elements and different things that happened in the book. But that was a lot of fun. Definitely a strong lead character that I felt a lot of people really gravitated towards and really liked. And that's why we're really looking forward to trying to bring it back probably sometime next spring, next summer.
Well, this year you guys have been cranking the volume to 10.
Yeah.
See what I'm doing there? See what I'm doing? Yeah, 10 to 10. You guys are bringing out a ton of new projects with this 10 for 10 initiative. Let's talk about some of that.
Sure. We knew for Aspen, like I said, Mike's been gone almost 5 years now. We've still been around, but we're not the new hot chick on the block anymore. We just have to face it. There's tons of great new companies that have come out over the last couple of years and whatnot, and a lot of new things in the marketplace going on, and Image is doing great, and all the Marvel DC books are doing great, and you know, we've been doing well on our own, but we knew we really needed to shake it up for our 10-year anniversary. The best thing we thought about was giving back to our fans and really getting the retailers behind us again. Not that they ever left us, but just really saying, oh, hey, Aspen's still around. They still have some great stuff to put out. Let's really support those guys. So all last year when we were discussing what we were going to do for our 10-year anniversary, we knew that if we just decided to say, hey, let's just have one big party at Comic-Con or just do a couple things throughout the year, it'd be a lot of fun, but it wouldn't be quite a big success because it would just be a little blip on the radar. So with the 10 for 10 initiative, what it is 10 brand new books for 10 months, one each month for $1. So basically it's 10 months long. You get 10 books if you pick them up every single month for $1, so $10, 10 for 10, hence the name. And so far, so good. We've been knocking it out of the park. The very first book that came out was Legend of Shadow Clan, which started in February. That book ranked in the top 70 on the top 100, which was awesome. The second book, Shrugged, which just debuted last month, which I was really excited about. That was also in the top 100. JT Kroll's new book, Journey, was the one that just came out this month. Came out about 2 weeks ago, cracked 40,000 copies. It'll be hopefully in the top 50, 60-ish ballpark. So we're really excited because you cannot put a price on having the retailers and the fans going into the store and saying, oh, hey, this book looks great. It's the same quality level that we've always come to expect from Aspen because, knock on wood, we're really known for the quality of our art and the quality of our product. Pound for pound, you can put our books up against anybody else's, and they stand the test of time. That's why DC and Marvel still hire us to work on some of their biggest projects, because we deliver. So I'm really proud of that fact. And with the 10 for 10, this was our way of, like I said, give back to the fans. $1 book, which, heck, for $1, you know, most people lose $1 just giving away spare change and everything. So we thought it was a good way to say, hey, pick up this great book. Hopefully you'll like it. Hopefully you'll continue with the series. And we'll get more people involved with Aspen. And having the retailers pushing those $1 books and cross-selling them with other products that people always coming to get, you know, sure, they're going to pick up their Spideys, they're going to pick up their Batman books and everything, but hey, try Journey. It's a brand new adventure action book that you might like. It's only $1. Check it out. That's what we're really pushing for. And the biggest thing, not to keep dragging on with this, but is it's a marathon. It's not just, we only did it for 1 month or 2 months, and so some retailers that missed it are like, oh, well, we missed the boat on it. No, you know what? If you didn't try Shadow Clan for $1, or if you didn't try Shrugged for $1, hey, Fathom's still coming for $1. So far, we still have all these books for 10 months still coming, so you didn't miss the boat. You didn't miss the train. You can still hop on, try these books out, and then go back and check the other ones if you're interested. You know? Now,
there's a big relaunch. I won't say relaunch. A big push with Fathom coming up as a weekly events book is coming out. Do you want to talk briefly about that?
Sure. Aspen was never known for doing big event books throughout the summer, and we still really don't do it too much, but we're like, well, what we can do is focus on one specific title. So 2 years ago, we did our very first event, which was through Executive Assistant Iris, which was called the Hit List Agenda, and that worked great. We did a weekly series for 2.5 months. So last summer, we did our first Soulfire event, which was Search for the Light. And then this year, since it's Fathom's 15-year anniversary as well, huge year for us. 10 years for Aspen, 10 years for Soulfire, 15 years for Fathom. It's incredible. And so we're like, okay, of course we have to do a Fathom event. So it's called the Elite Saga. It brings all of the storylines over the past 15 years into play that Mike created, all the new ones that JT and myself and Peter and everybody have been working on, and just culminates in this huge weekly event that starts in mid-June, runs all the way through mid-July, and then all of that leads right into the all-new Fathom dollar book that launches the third week of July. So we're really excited because for basically 6 full weeks, there'll be a Fathom book every single week in stores, and then it all leads up to the brand new book. So we're really excited about that.
I can't wait. I've read Fathom right from the beginning when it was over at Top Cow, and it's a nice fantasy. I like that you don't guys do like the superhero stuff. You get the gritty fantasy or the lighter fantasy when it comes to Shrug, and you guys have a nice variety of product, and I hope it continues on for a long time to come.
No, I truly appreciate that. The thing about us, we've never been a licensing company. We've never taken other ideas and put our spin on them. I mean, for better or for worse, we've always created within house. We've always cultivated and worked through properties for years. Vince's Charismagic, he was working on that for 2.5 years before we actually put it out. I mean, we definitely invest the time and energy, and like I said, for better or for worse, we stick to our guns. We put out all of our creator-owned stuff, and hopefully it sticks. And like I said, knock on wood, we have a pretty good track record with all that stuff. Fathom's been around 15 years, Soulfire 10, Shrug will be 10 years pretty soon. All of our books, they have longevity, which I really appreciate because the fans really gravitate towards them.
Now, one last question. You guys were one of the first companies to actually make a foray into digital with the Hero stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you have any projects coming up for digital exclusives? People seem to be doing digital first books a lot lately. Is that something Aspen is looking at?
That's a great question, yes. Just had a meeting with someone about 2 weeks ago in regards to that. Can't announce the book yet, but it will be a creator-owned book that we've been working on with someone at work that is a good close friend, and we're looking to announce that probably later this summer and then get it rolling into the fall or early next year. It'll be our first digital first, because we have done a few books where we did a Fathom book that all the proceeds got donated to charity. There was a Charismagic book that just debuted a few months back that all the proceeds get donated to charity, and this particular book will be an actual series that we're looking. I won't go into too much, but the DC model where it's weekly with, shorter pages, but yet once you get it, you get the full story for the same price and everything. We're looking at doing something in that vein. So
and
really
they will see print after digital.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us. And when you guys are ready to launch that, would you guys come and talk to us again,
sure.
maybe via Skype or something?
You got it.
Fantastic.
You got it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for the time, guys.
Well, we've got to pay the bills sometime. So right now we want to thank our sponsors, Telestream, who put out a fabulous product called Wirecast. Wirecast is in 4.2.4. Download your free trial copy today from telestream.net/Wirecast for all your video production needs and live on the internet.
Hey there, AJ Fry and Teddy Wilson here from Innerspace, Space Channel's flagship entertainment news show, bringing you all things geek.
We're at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, and we're coming to you on Between the Pages on Naked Ape Productions.
I am here with Oliver, standing in front of one of the most famous movie time machines ever to be made, the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Oliver, how are you today?
Doing great, Richard. Thanks.
Thanks for coming to the Expo, and you are here raising money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which is to research for Parkinson's research.
Exactly, that's right.
See, I can't even get that out.
No, you did very well. We're a branch of that, actually. We're members, we're volunteers of Team Fox, and we love the movie Back to the Future, and we thought what better way to use our car than to raise money for Michael's Foundation.
Now, my understanding is you put this car together yourself.
Yeah. My wife and I bought a DeLorean about 13 years ago, and we turned it into a time machine.
And have you been getting a lot of folks coming in to help you out with raising funds for the campaign?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. There are a lot of great fans here who love the movie Back to the Future, and they share our enjoyment of the film, and they want to have their picture taken inside the car, so we make that happen for them for a donation.
That is awesome. So where can people find more information about the Michael J. Fox Foundation?
Well, you can go to michaeljfox.org, and if you'd like to find out more about our mission and where we travel with the car, you can go to tothefuture.org.
So tothefuture.org to find out where this fantastic machine is going to be in the future.
That's right.
All right, I want to thank you, Oliver, for all of your time today. We hope that you raised a lot of money. Parkinson's is a very worthwhile cause to raise money for, and you know, I can't say enough good things about what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
I'm with Joe Benitez, artist of Lady Mechanica. How are you doing today, Joe?
Good.
So, Lady Mechanica was starting in Aspen. It's been a great start for Lady Mechanica, but you've separated from Aspen. What's next for? Are you going to move that character somewhere else?
At this point, it's probably just going to self-publish, or it's basically I'm just trying to focus on finishing it.
Right.
I've got. I'm trying to finish the story. It's got, you know, I've got like 4, 5, and 6, and I'm actually in the process of developing a spin-off story and other books and other characters that are steampunk related and not steampunk related. But so yeah, I'm trying to have my hands on a bunch of different projects. But first and foremost, you know, I'm trying to finish off issue 4 and 5 and 6, get that arc finished, and move on to the next story.
Well, it's been a fantastic start to the book, and I really like the world you've created. Do you have anything outside of Lady Mechanica coming up for you?
No, I mean, you know, covers here and there. I did. I'm doing some covers for Dynamite. I mean, not for Black Bat and for Miss Fury, and you know, I've got commissioned for covers here and there. You know, so they come out sporadically. But I mean, right now it's like I'm trying to, you know, build my what do you call it? My publishing studio, and I'm hoping that, you know, in the next couple of months we'll have something to show.
Oh, excellent. Well, hopefully we can talk to you when you're ready to launch the new line of Lady Mechanica on your own.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the G.I. Joe silent issue you did. You're the second person to do one of those, and another fantastic silent issue. How hard is it to tell the story strictly through pictures?
Well, the thing is, working with Larry Hama, he actually laid out the whole book. So I was actually working off of his layouts. So it's like it was much easier in terms of not having to think about how the book was going to be presented, because I was just taking his thumbnails and then, you know, elaborating on it. But it was a little harder because it was actually I sort of spearheaded that. You know, like I when I was approached about doing something like that, I asked him, "Do you have a silent issue? I'd love to do a Snake Eyes anything." But if you could you know, somehow get a silent issue, you know, that'd be awesome. And then when they actually happened, I think I was kind of like a little overwhelmed, because it took me longer to do that book because it's just, I got, you know, like writer's block, because it was so, the pressure was on. And the thing is, I'm not exactly all that happy with the end result, because I feel like, it's like, I feel if I wasn't so, if I hadn't put so much pressure, I think I would have done a much better job. So
I think it's still a great showcase of your artwork, and I really enjoyed that issue.
Well, thank you.
And we'd like to thank Words and Pictures. Words and Pictures is located right here in Calgary at 2610 Center Street Northeast. Phone number is 403-282-8870. They've got your file services, statues, toys, T-shirts, you name it. They've got a large selection of back issues in the city of Calgary. You can also find them on Facebook, like them on Facebook. It's Words-Pictures on Facebook.
Hi, my name is Eric Larson. You may remember me from the pages of Aquaman or Brother Power the Geek. And you are watching Between the Pages.
Back here at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo with my good friend Devin Daniels from the Alberta Tourism and Vulcan Tourism. You're the Vulcan administrator out there now, are you not?
I'm the tourism administrator for Vulcan and District Tourism Society.
See, look at that. My English is all messed up, but he's got it perfect. So tell us a little bit about Vulcan and the upcoming event, Spock Days.
Vulcan is a small town in southeastern Alberta. We have a population of about 2,000, and we have a mini Star Trek convention every year, the second weekend of June, where we bring up celebrities from the Star Trek world who, much like this Comic Expo, but on a smaller scale, will provide question and answer sessions, photo ops, autographs, have dinner, dance, and other activities as well.
Now, we were fortunate enough to be there last year where we got a chance to meet and talk a little bit about some other things that may be coming up or that are kind of on the back burner, but now they've moved to the front burner and they're well known. So tell us a little bit about the new museum that's coming.
Absolutely, Richard. We were just given the go-ahead to press release the new museum. It's called Trekcetera Museum, From the Wild West to the Final Frontier. Most of the museum houses artifacts, original costumes, props, and pre-production materials in the making of Star Trek series and movies. In addition to Star Trek, we have other things from other movies, other TV series, and things from history, such as the RMS Olympic, which is Titanic's sister ship, and items from the U.S. 7th Cavalry as well. So we have a little bit of something for Trek fans and non-Trek fans alike.
Very cool. Now, this is the 21st annual Spock Days. Am I correct on that?
It is correct.
Now, this year you've got some fabulous guys coming in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you're bringing in for Spock Days?
This year we have Robert Picardo, who played the Doctor on Voyager, Ethan Phillips, who played Neelix on Voyager, and we have Rick Sternbach, who was a senior illustrator and technical consultant for many of the series and movies. So he'll offer a behind-the-scenes perspective.
Very cool. And we're looking forward to meeting all these fellas as well. And we're going to be moderating your panels for you.
Yes, indeed. We're looking forward to having you there. And you'll be, as you said, moderating the Q&A sessions. And the actors and Rick Sternbach alike will be holding a special grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony for the museum. So we're excited about that. And most importantly, Bob Picardo and Ethan Phillips are going to be inducted into the Vulcan Star Trek Walk of Fame.
Very cool. Well, we look forward to that. Listen, if you're going to be in the Vulcan area June 7th to the 9th, beam on down to Vulcan, Alberta, and be part of Spock Days. We look forward to seeing you there. You know, besides this guy, I must be the luckiest SOB on the face of the planet. Because all weekend, I've been surrounded by gorgeous women and, well, you know, handsome fellas, too. And I'm here with the fine ladies from Nerdgasm, and they are dressed as, you know, the hottest bunny superheroines and villains I've ever seen. So let's ask them a little bit about what their costumes are and what it's all about. What is Nerdgasm?
Nerdgasm is actually a collection of different groups all over Canada that make nerdy things for nerdy people that do other nerdy things. The costumes were actually designed by one of our people, Bada Boom Costumes. She's really awesome. It's Catwoman.
Oh, well, we got Bada Boom right over here. Now, Bada Boom, let's talk about the costumes of Bada Boom. Now, how did you get inspired to do Playboy bunnies in the, of course, Harley and Ivy, Harley. Oh, God. I'm so confused. All right. Batgirl, Harley, Catwoman, and Ivy. Yeah. See, I'm so confused. This is what beautiful women do to me. They confuse me. So let's talk a little bit about Bada Boom and how you got inspired to do outfits like this.
Definitely. At San Diego Comic-Con, there was a group of 7 models, I think, who did the Avenger bunnies. So there was the same kind of deal with the characters as interpreted as Playboy bunnies. And Sam and I were like, well, heck, let's do that for DC characters. So we started back in January, and I started doing fittings and making mock-ups, and Allison started doing accessories and sculpting. All of the sculpted accessories and everything were made by her. And so yeah, it's been a long road. I've been sewing my hands to the bone, and I finished about 3 hours ago. So
how much work goes into from conception to final product that goes onto the models? How much work goes into that?
Oh, we were trying to think of how many pieces were involved in each. We got past like 200 at least.
There's 10 pieces you have to cut per ear set.
Yeah.
So
wow.
So Yeah, there was a ton of work. We started with sketches, and then we did some mock-ups with just some plain fabric that we had made, that we found, and then started fitting each and every one like perfectly, because there's not a lot of wiggle room with a bunny costume. Things can go very wrong if they're not perfectly fitted.
So I guess people are going to ask us, so I'm going to ask you, any wardrobe malfunctions so far?
We have a lot of tape preventing those things.
So far, so good.
We are great.
There was some surgery behind some curtains earlier, but I think we got it all sorted out.
I think we're doing good.
All right, so if you are down at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, go check out Nerdgasm, check out these fine ladies. And you know, Hef over here, he's having a great time because, hey, if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't leave the booth either. When you're out and about at a comic convention or even the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, you get thirsty. And what a better way to quench your thirst than going to Lemon Heaven. Like, it's all natural. They've got diabetic drinks. They've got something for everybody. And who doesn't like lemonade? You know what? Go to Lemon Heaven. Lemon Heaven's best place to be. Guerrilla Printing at guerrillaprinting.ca. Everything from business cards to trade show banners. Check them out on the web, guerrillaprinting.ca.
Hi, I'm Bob Bergen, the voice of the Porky Pig, and you're watching the Between the Pages, folks.
My next guest has done great things like Samurai Jack. He was the voice of Jon Stewart in the Justice League, and, you know, hey, guess what? He was also on Mad TV. Phil LaMarr, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. How's the show treating you?
Very well. Everyone's so nice, but that's Canada for you.
You know, we like to be nice here in Canada, you know.
I don't know if you guys have any choice. I don't know if you could help it. Is there some place where you put all the mean Canadians, like to get them out of the mix so they don't infect everyone else?
It's called the Prairies. Oh, I'm from the Prairies, so I can say that.
See?
Now, Phil, let's talk a little bit about your long career. You started on Mad TV as a player.
Yep. Although actually my very first job was on the Mr. T cartoon in the 80s when I was in high school.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
And what character did you play on the Mr. T cartoon? Because I remember that from the 80s.
I was Woody, the smart kid. It was not a very well-written show. There was a smart kid, there was a girl, there was an Asian girl, and then there was a tough kid.
And Mr. T.
And Mr. T and the little boy and the dog with the mohawk.
Now, you've moved on, obviously, to greater and better things. I mean, you did Jon Stewart, for Pete's sake, from Justice League, and that was a great ride, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show. I mean, really, really well done. Talented producers, artists, writers, everybody.
Now, if they do a Justice League movie, another sort of animated movie, would you be interested in playing Jon Stewart again?
Oh, yeah, anytime. But, you know, they seem to have moved on.
And currently, of course, you're on Futurama every week.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Futurama, and also I have a show on the Hub called Kaijudo, and I'm doing a part of Baxter Stockman, one of the villains on the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is a lot of fun.
We haven't seen that here in Canada yet, but I'm sure we're going to see it very, very soon.
I hope so. It's, come on, Viacom is everywhere. Get it here. Come on, what are you waiting for?
Phil, I want to thank you very much for your time, buddy. And I know you've been really busy and your voice is almost going on you, but you've had lineups all weekend long. And thanks for being on Between the Pages.
My pleasure.
I'm here with Paul Jenkins. He's worked for Marvel, DC, and now he's over at Boom Studios with Deathmatch and Fairy Tales. How are you today, Paul?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Thanks for being on the show today. Now, you've got, let's talk about Deathmatch first. You got Deathmatch, this is a battle royale, as it were, with a bunch of superheroes. Tell us how that came about.
Well, you know, I was approached by Boom to kind of do a new original series because I think, you know, I've arrived at a point in my career where I've done so many mainstream superhero type books, and you know, I don't think there's a creative malaise to some extent. I like that kind of story, but I did arrive at a point where I felt there was less for me to offer. You go back to the days of Marvel Nights. I think, you know, we really kind of freed up to do all kinds of interesting stories because of the bankruptcy, in a sense. They had to get that kind of story in. Over time, it changed. You know, I think Civil War and that time was probably the last time that they gave you sort of a lot of creative freedom. And I just happen to be a person that's like driven almost exclusively by creative freedom, not because of ego, but much more to do with the fact I think that the best product comes out of allowing the creators to do the work, And now I think we've arrived at a place where there's a lot of editorial mandates because of the crossover situations and all of that. So I talked with Ross and the guys at Boom, and they basically just handed me complete creative freedom to do whatever I wanted to do, which is great, yeah. So Deathmatch, the premise is basically it's a bunch of superheroes and supervillains and neutrals as well. So they're called supes and newts and fears, like superiors and inferiors. And they're put in a prison and they are made to basically go in an arena and kill each other. But they don't know how they got there, they don't know why they're there, and they don't even know why they're doing it. But they find out when they're in the arena, and then they get their minds erased and they get pulled out of the arena. So it's like this big mystery, like what's happening. And obviously we're building through a 12-issue series to show people, exactly what's happening, what the mystery is and like what the forces are that shape it,
Okay, so this was planned as a maxi series. Do you have more stories set in this world? Because you have a lot of characters here, and you're slowly giving us background as they're battling each other. So,
well, understand that we have a lot of characters, right? But they're all getting killed, so there's not that many of them left. Yes, we have actually a very specific follow-up, which, without spoiling too much, I don't think it spoils too much to kind of give the basic premise. If we have a world where all the superheroes, that A-list superheroes have been taken out and they've been put in this prison to kill each other, then what's the state of the world that they left behind? Because now all of the A-list villains are all in the world, but all of the D-list superheroes are left. So they're the only people left, and so we're kind of planning to do that as the sequel, which is the world without heroes.
That's a very great follow-up. Now you're doing Fairy Tales with Humberto Ramos. This is 2-issue series, I do believe?
Well, actually, to be accurate, it's Fairy Quest.
Oh, Fairy Quest, I'm sorry. My bad, I'm terrible.
It's okay. Fairy Quest is very much a labor of love that Humberto and I started a long time ago. The premise is it's actually a world called Fablewood, and Fablewood is where every single kind of story that's ever been written lives. So you might have like detective fiction lives in one province, and like romance stories live in another, and science fiction stories live in another. And so they all live in this massive uncharted forest called Fablewood. And right in the very center is where the children's stories live, and they live under this terrible, oppressive dictatorship that makes them tell their story accurately, and if they get it wrong, they get their minds wiped in the mind eraser.
That's incredible. I'm going to have to pick this up because I haven't read this one yet, and I liked it when you guys teamed on Revelations.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to reissue Revelations. That's coming back out as well. So,
Will that be Dark Horse or Boom?
No, it's actually with Boom, yeah. I've really... creatively sort of thrown my lot in with Boom because the agreement that I had, and Ross Ritchie, who's the publisher and the owner of Boom, Ross has the right idea about what you should do. Give the creators encouragement and that form of freedom, make them work with a competent editorial staff, and that really make things work that way. And if you do that, you're going to end up with a product that is ultimately superior. And I feel, what might have happened accidentally over the last few years is that given the prevalence of sort of crossover and event-driven stuff, and given the success of the films, for example, like just the fact that the Avengers movies done so well, the Batman movies have done so well, it somewhat undercuts the ability in the mainstream titles to do anything. If Spider-Man's dead, don't hold your breath. He's not going to be dead for like more than 5 minutes. And the problem that creates is there's an undercurrent of there's a lack of this ability to suspend your disbelief. Now in Deathmatch, when they're dead, and that's an agreement that we came to. Like if they die, they die. If they get injured, they're injured. In a sense, readers want consequence, and we can always do that with this kind of book. That's what I have sort of really, really wanted to do. So that's why I'm kind of sticking with Boom for the long run,
Yeah, so you don't have any immediate plans to return to any Marvel or DC characters? I know you were instrumental in getting some of the New 52 stuff off the ground.
I will honestly say, I honestly feel there's no need for me to do so, right? If I am driven by the creativity of it, and the freedom to create properly, they could honestly call me and say, we want you to do the Flash or Batman tomorrow, and I'd say no thanks. It takes me back to a concept that happened a few years ago. You know, I talked with Eddie Berganza a number of years ago about doing Superman, and Eddie was asking me, you know, if I was interested, and I said, I don't think that I'll do a Superman that you'll let me do, you know. And he said, well, what would you want to do? And I said, well, how about if, you know, someone grabbed Superman's parents and said to him, hey, you're faster than a speeding bullet, and then blow their brains out. You know, you get Superman by attacking him mentally or something. You can't really do anything to him. You got to give consequences, though, right? And Eddie said, you know, you're right, Paul. Like, I couldn't do that. And I said, well, it's okay, because I'm already doing it with a Sentry. So in a sense, you know, like I could now say about the mainstream, you know, it's okay. I sort of don't need to do that because I'm already doing it with Deathmatch. I'm already doing it with all the things that I want to do, you know? Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to what you got coming out. The guy who gave us Inhumans and Sentry, to see him off the leash. I can't wait to see what's coming up for you next. Is there anything you can talk about right now?
Yeah, actually I can. I mean, basically, you know, it's really, you actually guys are getting a little bit of an exclusive right here. I am going to, you know, kind of go exclusively right here. You know, I love doing it. I love the freedom that I get given. I love the ability to create unfettered, in a sense, you know. And so I'm very happy doing this kind of book. I've got another book that's like specifically built out as a creator-owned story. That's going to be coming from Boom. It's called The Tomorrow Man. And it's a disaster movie done as a black comedy. So it's basically the end of the world as a comedy. Which is really good. But you know, I just love that idea of like the whole world's just falling apart and it's funny. You know, it's kind of cool. It's like Shaun of the Dead, basically, right? Shaun of the Dead meets The Walking Dead or something like that. You know. Yeah. And then you know, we're going to do you know, the world of Fablewood is really cool. So while we have the Fairy Quest book that we're doing, there's actually another book that we're going to do. It's about a detective that comes from the world of detective fiction, and he goes to the world of nursery rhymes because he finds out that they're all crime scenes. So if you think about it, like Jack and Jill is a crime scene, and so is like Humpty Dumpty, and you know Jack stealing candlesticks and stuff like that. And while he's busy investigating Jack and Jill, somebody drops a house on the Wicked Witch of the East, and there's a turf war between the queens and the witches because they're all the mob, right? So we get, you know, all of this stuff is, you know, and I have a couple of other books that I want to do, you know, a couple of other books that we've got planned that we're sort of not announcing yet. Loads of stuff, and you can tell probably from just this, I'm like really excited because I finally feel a little bit more reinvigorated by comics. I think I've sort of moved away from them in the last 4 or 5 years and done video game work and a little film work and all of that kind of stuff, and right now I'm much more invigorated to do more comics with Boom.
That's fantastic. Are you planning to do more of the Fable Quest with Umberto, or are you planning to get somebody who's more known for these crime noir stuff to work in that world?
Actually, yeah, we have an artist that we can't announce on the detective story, but it's someone that's very close to, near and dear to my heart, and someone that's actually very stylistically like Umberto, right? You know, so we get that world to kind of have its own look and have its own feel. So, you know, and then as far as like other artistic talent, I mean, one of the things that I talked about with the guys at Boom, you know, with Matt Gagnon and Bryce Carlson, the editors, and Philip Sablik, is that, you know, we can get some really good talent in, you know, by running the materials correctly. Deathmatch did really well for Boom. It as far as I understand, it was the highest selling original series that had been done.
Well, I can verify that. I'm a retailer as well, and it did very well for us as well.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's the thing is I just feel it's getting people to them. You know, I want that. That's why I thought the number one being $1 was really cool too, because then people can always go to it, try it. That's all I ever ask. Just try the book. But you're not going to try the book if you are like really, really dedicated to only Spider-Man or only Marvel or only DC, you know?
Now, you know, this gives me a thought about a question I've noticed on the retail side of things, and I think there's a big interest in books outside of superheroes. I think there's a superhero fatigue at this point, or just for more original content where they're not protecting their IPs, like Deathmatch, where there's more consequence to the story. Do you think that's because of the over-inundation, or maybe there's the superheroes have run their course, or maybe it's the films are watering the well down?
What I would say is that it's not superhero fatigue because all of the stories have been done. That's not true, man. It'd be great superhero stories, I'm sure. I wrote Spider-Man for a long time, probably 4 or 5 years. I didn't run out of stories. I got loads that I could have done. But that version, that kind of thing that we did with our version of Spider-Man was very simple. It was single issue stories. It was like one and done, come in, go out. The ones that I did with Mark Buckingham especially were just like, they're very memorable stories. And I've had so many fans come up to me and say, hey, I remember this one, remember this single issue. So I talked with Marvel, probably a couple of years ago, and I said, how would, let's have a frank conversation. Like, do you want those single issue stories? I want the audience to get stories that are much more penetrable. And the answer was, we just don't. We don't want those anymore. We wouldn't publish that anymore. I think that's okay. That's Marvel's publishing kind of identity now. Yeah. But it doesn't really work that very well. I'm not very good at it, I don't think. I think I'm much better with the sort of creative freedom outside of the sort of event continuity-driven stuff. And I think that's where the malaise comes from. There's no consequence to some of the superhero stories,
Yeah, well, most recently, them killing Robin over at DC, and first thing is, well, he'll be back. I'm like, well, but they've played that trick over already. Yep. So why? Yep. What consequence? Where would that story go?
I think that's
exactly.
I think that's where the malaise comes from, right? You have to, as an audience, you have to give your audience the ability to feel as though there's danger to the characters, although something bad could happen, although as though if someone dies, they stay dead. It has meaning. And I can't imagine that you could kill any single high-profile mainstream character in comics. You cannot, because they're movie characters now. And so that means that, in large part, that the mainstream comics probably are a little bit about like maintenance now. And I think the audience begins to understand that. And so I hope that we can get back to the kind of Marvel Knights environment where we just go, hey, let's just do great stories and then sell those great stories,
Yeah, I would hope so too. Well, thank you very much for joining us on Between the Pages.
You're watching Between the Pages.
Well, the Calgary Expo is full of people. And you know what? When there's lots of people in the area, there's always one person you want to turn to for legal advice, and that's the Comic Legends Legal Defense Fund. I had to read that off a card because it's a mouthful. And I'm here with Jay, who can tell us all about what the fund is all about.
Absolutely, Richard. What the fund is we provide counsel and in some cases financial service for people who have run afoul of the law with their comic books, be it a creator, a retailer, or even just a reader. Like the Joe average person in this day and age, if you can believe it, can still get arrested for having the wrong type of comic book by someone's definition. So it's an unfortunate set of circumstances and something we still have to fight to this day. And there, especially in the last about 5 years or so, there's been an influx of issues that have presented themselves with individuals creating, selling, and basically even just carrying comic books. A lot of it has to do getting back and forth across the border, but our organization and the American counterpart, the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, are there to help those people get over those hurdles and problems, avoid prosecution, and help them with their legal costs if there's any.
Now, the fund is also there available for families that have lost an artist to try and help with the estate and that kind of stuff as well?
A little bit. That used to be back in the day, but that branch actually is kind of split off. There is something called the Actor Organization, which is there to help artists who've moved on in the years, because of course in the art industry, there's no pensions, there's no unions, there's no way to really kind of build up a fund. So as people kind of move on, if they haven't had steady work, they don't have that buildup of cash to help get them in their senior years. So there are organizations for that, and there's some of them actually here today at the Expo as well.
Very cool. Now, how can people get involved with the fund and be able to donate funds to help out some of these legal proceedings?
What they can do is we have a booth here at the Calgary Expo this weekend and at most expos across Canada. We sell autographed and sometimes sketched editions of books from big name creators. We've got like signed sets of Sandman books by Neil Gaiman, all the way down to some of the kind of the more local stuff that you may know, guys that you may know from Calgary, Riley Rossmo and Fiona Staples who sign stuff. You make a donation, you get books, that sort of thing. You can also help us out online if you visit our website, clldf.org. Flip that card over, .org or .com.
Doesn't say.
Really? I'll have to talk to later. Okay, it's either .org or .com. I'm going to think it's .com first, but check us out online. We are in the process right now. We have a very small group of individuals. We're always looking for help for stuff, updating web content, and maintaining our viral aspects as well. So we are looking for people to assist us with that, and we can always use an extra hand or two at cons. And any artists that are out there as well who believe in the cause, we're always looking for people to help us do some sketches, sign some books, things that we can sell at shows to help raise money and awareness.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to helping you out more on Between the Pages with the Comic Legends Legal Defense Fund. You should get involved too because it goes to a worthwhile cause.
Hi, I'm here with Arthur Saddam, most noted for his zombie work on Marvel Zombies and the like. He's also done a lot of game work and fantasy artwork. Welcome to the show, Arthur.
Good to be here. I'm working on The Walking Dead right now.
Fantastic. Walking Dead covers, and what a match made in heaven there.
Well, that's my old partner from Marvel Zombies. Robert Kirkman and I, and then Sean from England. I think we're kind of the guys that got this whole zombie thing going.
Now, you're talking to me off camera. There is a long history of Saddam's of painters in your family. Jesus, it sounds like going back almost 400 years.
That's correct. Yeah. The family actually came over in the 16th century, fought the Indian Wars on the Hudson River, established a trading post for trappers. At that trading post ended up becoming New Amsterdam. Then later, New Amsterdam became New York.
So, have you asked for your land back over in New York?
I've been thinking about it. How can I get my hands on some of it? But haven't had any luck so far.
Prime real estate.
Work in progress.
So, you've done. Everybody knows your Marvel covers, Deadpool and Marvel Zombies. This classically trained artist that you are, how did you fall into the comics part of things?
Well, we'll explain the classical training.
Yeah, let's start there.
Okay, there was this. I had seen the drawings of Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. They're anatomical drawings when I was very young, and I really loved those drawings. And what I always wanted to do was I wanted to learn how to draw like that and then bring that quality of knowledge of anatomy, of classical drawing and painting, and bring that into something that's more fun than people on their knees in church in robes, and bring that into something like comic books. And I grew up reading comic books, so in my 20s I got the training. I finally found a school called the New York Academy of Figurative Art in New York City, and I studied there. And the school was a recreation of the school of Michelangelo, Raphael, and Leonardo. And there I was able to do a lot of work with cadavers. I had to sculpt them, I had to draw them, I had to paint them. And so that's so when the zombie thing came around, it seemed like I was the right foot for the right shoe.
Right. And you've done, I can see here we've got Misfits covers, and I do remember a video game you did as well. I do believe that was
Correct.
Touch of the Dead.
Right, there you go. You know better than me, right? Yeah, the one with the zombies on it.
Hey, I recognize your artwork a mile away.
All right, well, that's nice
it's very
to know.
identifiable style.
Okay.
Artwork's like signatures for me.
Okay.
And you're one of the best.
Thank you.
What can you tell your fans? What do you got coming up next and where they should be looking?
Right now I'm working on The Walking Dead, and I did a long run of Deadpool for Marvel Comics, and I'm working on Deadpool. As a matter of fact, in the airplane in the airports all the way here for 10 hours I was working on a cover.
Oh, wow.
On my way here to Calgary. I finished up in my room in the hotel the first night I got here on Thursday night.
Oh, wow.
And so that's kind of what I'm working on now. I have my own zombie series that I started 10 years ago that precedes all this other zombie stuff that I'm actually writing, and I'm doing the interiors, and I'm still working on that as well.
Right. That's fantastic. Well, you've also done some fantasy work prior to the zombies taking over.
Right. Well, that falls right in line with classical work, like like we discussed. Frank Frazetta was unofficially, a teacher for me. I consider him to be one of my most influential teachers. I had two of them, really. Frank was one of them, three of them. And there was Randy Mellick from the New York Academy of Figurative Art. And then I had an uncle who actually studied with Norman Rockwell, and I inherited his workbooks.
Wow.
And some of this looks kind of Rockwellian, and that's because I inherited my uncle's workbooks, and that's where I really learned to be able to paint with oil paints, because they're really there's a trick to them, really, to be able to use them.
Yeah, fantastic work. Well, thank you for talking with Between the Pages. We really appreciate it,
Well, thanks so
and we
much.
hope we can do this again sometime.
Good to be here in Calgary.
Hi, I'm William Stout. I am happy to be here and really happy to be on Between the Pages. I hope you're watching Between the Pages as a regular watcher and listener, and it's a fabulous show, and I'm so happy to be here in Canada. Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, I'm here with Hell Trooper Curbison. Now, Hell Trooper, tell us a little bit about this outfit that you're wearing and why you're here at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo.
I'm not really sure what to tell you about it. I'm from the Halo universe. It's a Hell Jumper, not a Hell Trooper.
See, I suck. I obviously don't know my Halo. It's ODST.
Yeah, that's right. It is an ODST. And why am I here? It's the Calgary Comic Con and Entertainment Expo. Why not? This is the place where I belong. I feel at home.
Now, having met you last year and knowing that you are a huge Halo fan, you are probably one of the biggest female Halo fans that I know personally. And what people may not know is that underneath all of this fine, hard armor is a very beautiful young woman.
Oh, thank you. That's so very nice.
See, women can be into video games too.
That's right. Yeah, we're huge into video games. And we don't make people sandwiches. They make us sandwiches.
Now, let me ask you real quick. When you're playing online, are you one of those folks that really does the the squatting?
The teabagging?
Well, I prefer to call it squatting because,
Oh no, it's teabagging. You can't split that one. It's a teabag. Whether you're male or female, it's teabagging. And yes, I do it all the time, every chance I can.
Remind me not to play against you because I suck.
Okay, don't play against me because you suck.
Melissa, thanks for joining us here on Between the Pages again. Listen, I love having you with us, and let's do that. And if you don't know about Melissa, go follow her on Facebook because anything Halo, this gal's got it.
That's right. I do have a Facebook page. It is Kiddamus Prime.
Outside of ElfQuest, you've got Mask of Red Death, a reinterpretation of Edgar Allan Poe's classic story. Let's talk a little bit about that.
That's right. Well, I'm very excited about this because Mask first appeared online as an animated webcomic, and it's also readable as an online graphic novel. However, the interesting thing is, after I finished the graphic novel, I went on to write the libretto for a musical based on the graphic novel. And what happened is, and this happened just very recently, I have found a wonderful young composer named Gregory Neighbors who is interested in bringing this to the stage. And we also have a producer. And these are two people who believe in this very much. Isn't that strange and exciting? So this will be the first Poe-based horror. And it's also very this is very sexy. It's very adult-oriented material, musical that will be on the stage.
Edgar Allan Poe, the musical, as interpreted by Wendy Pini. This is fantastic news.
So, and of course, yes, thank you. This type of thing will take at least 4 to 5 years to really bring it. Every musical does, but we've got a great start. I've already heard some of the songs, And it's so amazing to hear dialogue from the graphic novel being sung and with this wonderful musical score behind it.
Fantastic. Now, where can people pick up this book?
Well, this is a limited edition that Warp Graphics publishes, and it's published on demand. It's pretty expensive. But right now, this is where you can get it, or you can read it online at maskofthereddeath.com for free.
Fantastic, and it's a beautiful package, so I highly recommend people to get this limited edition package while they can here at the Calgary Expo.
Yeah, well, I'm very, very proud of it. It's very different from ElfQuest. It's kind of something I had to get out of my system. But, you know, I love it just as much as ElfQuest, but in a darker way.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you again for talking about the book. Thank you for talking with Between the Pages, and we will talk to you very, very soon. And we'll definitely talk a little bit more about the musical when it's ready to go.
Hi, my name is Anthony Delco from Kill Shakespeare, and you're watching Between the Pages.